Is Captain Kim around here? Hey, Nicole, are we good? Or is Captain Kim? He said he was going to get back to me. We're good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here. My name is Andrew Meyer. I'm the captain of Sheriff's Homicide Bureau. I also like to thank everyone up here today that's standing behind me. We have the captain of East Los Angeles Station, the captain of Century Sheriff Station. We have LA County Supervisor Janice Hahn. We have representatives from the city of Bell. We have representatives from the city of Huntington Park. And they're going to be, representatives are going to be speaking with you. Again, like I said, I'm from Sheriff's Homicide Bureau, the captain there. I'm here to brief you on the details and arrests made regarding multiple murders that occurred in the early morning hours, or I'm sorry, the late hours of February 11th and the early morning hours of February 12th in the cities of Bell, Huntington Park, Cudahy, and the unincorporated area of Los Angeles. On February 11th, at approximately 10:30 p.m., officers from the Bell Police Department responded to the 6500 block of Bear Avenue in the city of Bell regarding a report of shots fired at the location. When officers arrived on scene, they discovered a Hispanic male adult, unresponsive, suffering from a gunshot wound. Second male Hispanic adult victim was located at the scene, however, he was not injured. Los Angeles County Fire Department responded to the scene and pronounced the victim deceased at the scene. A couple hours later, on February 12th at approximately 12:04 a.m., deputies from the Century Sheriff Station responded to the 1500 block of East Florence Avenue in the unincorporated area of Los Angeles, again regarding a report of a gunshot victim. And this was in a shopping center parking lot. Upon their arrival, they discovered a Hispanic male adult suffering from a gunshot wound. Los Angeles County Fire Department paramedics responded and pronounced the victim deceased at the scene. On the same date, about 12 minutes later, at about 12:16 a.m., deputies from East Los Angeles Sheriff Station responded to the 5000 block of Live Oak Street in the city of Cudahy regarding a report of shots fired at the location. Upon their arrival, deputies discovered two male Hispanic juveniles suffering from gunshot wounds. The fire department responded and pronounced one of those juveniles deceased at the scene. The other one was treated and transported to a local hospital and treated for a gunshot wound. He is currently listed in stable condition. Later that night, at about 1:55 a.m. in the morning, an officer from the Huntington Park Police Department was on patrol, and he was driving in the 6300 block of Santa Fe Avenue in the city of Huntington Park when he observed a person lying in the street along the west curb. The officer stopped his vehicle to check on this individual's welfare. He discovered he was a male Hispanic suffering from gunshot wounds. Again, the fire department responded and pronounced the victim deceased at the scene. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Homicides Bureau responded to each one of these murders and assumed control of these independent investigations. As each murder investigation was occurring, investigators at their respective crime scenes were communicating with one another and learned that a Honda Pilot, the possible suspect vehicle, was depicted on surveillance cameras at each of the four murder scenes within a relatively close time period. Investigators utilized law enforcement resources and techniques in order to attempt to identify the Honda Pilot. At 12 p.m., a special bulletin was disseminated to local law enforcement. It included pictures of the suspect vehicle. You can see it there on the screen to my left, and surveillance cameras from near the scenes of the murders. A brief synopsis indicating homicide investigators believe the four homicide incidents may be related. At about 2 p.m., Homicide Bureau identified the suspect vehicle and actually was able to get the license plate through our investigative techniques. And it was learned that it was entered into the law enforcement database as armed and dangerous wanted felony vehicle. At about 4 p.m., the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department deputies working patrol observed the suspect vehicle matching the description in the law enforcement bulletin and conducted a traffic stop of that suspect vehicle. Homicide detectives responded, and the suspect was transferred into the custody of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department homicide detectives, and he was booked for murder. It appears this was a random murder spree. However, homicide investigators have not ruled anything out. There may be other incidents, but at this time, we don't have any information indicating that. This is preliminary information, and these investigations are ongoing. Please understand there are details about this case that I'm not going to be able to discuss in order to maintain the integrity of the investigation. This case will be presented to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office later on this week. I would like to thank the members of our Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for all their hard work. They worked countless hours. Lots of detectives, dozens of detectives didn't sleep for 36 hours working this case to make sure that we brought someone, took somebody to jail for this, and justice was served. I want to specifically thank Operation Safe Streets, Fraud and Cyber Crimes Bureau, the Body Worn Camera Unit, our Major Crimes Bureau, and most of all the investigators and the crime analysts from Homicide Bureau, which were involved in piecing this case together, these cases together. I also like to thank members of the Century and East Los Angeles Sheriff Stations and our close working relationship with the City of Bell and Huntington Park Police Departments. They also assisted us in this investigation. Lastly, I'd like to thank the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department for their proactive policing and hard work, which led to the arrest of one of the suspects in these murders. Again, like I said, the investigation is ongoing, and currently there's no additional information at this time, but if the public has any information about any of these murders, I'd like you to please call LA County Sheriff's Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the captain of East Los Angeles Station, Captain Brandon Dean.
Thank you, Captain Meyer. As he said, my name is Captain Brandon Dean. I'm the captain of East Los Angeles Sheriff Station. And on behalf of the East Los Angeles Sheriff Station and the City of Cudahy, along with the Mayor of Cudahy, who's standing behind me, we want to really say thank you to Homicide Bureau and all the people that were involved in this case and being able to get the suspects off the street so quickly. They did an outstanding job, like he said, worked tirelessly, and were able to get this horrendous case closed very quickly. On behalf of the City of Cudahy, Cudahy is a small city. It's only about 1.23 square miles with a population of about 23,000. So something like this, where 2 juveniles get shot, ultimately 1 deceased, hits the community very hard. As such, the city has done a great job in reaching out to community members as well as posting on their social media sites and on their website about services that will be offered to members of the community if they would like to speak with people regarding this tragic incident. Some of the other things we're doing is we will be working with the school districts. Obviously, our unfortunate incident happened very close to a K through 8 school, so we will be working with the school districts to offer them services as well. On behalf of the Sheriff's Department at East LA Sheriff, we are increasing patrols in the City of Cudahy, although we do not suspect anything further. As Captain Meyer said, they have some suspects in custody. We're still increasing our presence just to bring some of those community concerns down. If you have any questions regarding the services that are being provided, we urge you to reach out to the City of Cudahy. Their number is 323-773-5143. And again, we appreciate all the hard work by Homicide, and thank you. I'll turn it over to Captain Edmundo Torres of the Century Station.
Thank you, Captain Brandon Dean. Again, like Brandon said, my name is Edmundo Torres. I'm the unit commander at Century Sheriff Station. Since this murder occurred in the 1500 block of Florence Avenue, we maintain constant communication with our community leaders and stakeholders as it pertains to the Florence Firestone District. They've also disseminated that information to our community members, and the message in essence states that if they see something or hear something, to please call the station. Our number at the station is 323-568-4800, 323-568-4800. As far as additional resources, all my deputies assigned to the Florence Firestone District are to remain vigilant and remain proactive as although this crime has already been solved, there can be additional witnesses that are still standing and that have not come forward. I urge them to call the station, and they can remain anonymous if they wish to. We still have additional witnesses that may have witnessed this incident, and the more cooperation we get, the better it will be to present the case to the DA's office. Again, thank everybody for attending this. I will now present Supervisor Janice Hahn.
Thank you, Captain. I'm Supervisor Janice Hahn, and first of all, really, I want to thank the media for joining us. Sometimes we report the crimes, but when they're solved, we want to make sure that the public knows they're solved, and we want to make sure the public sees all the agencies that have worked so hard together. I also want to introduce those who are not going to speak, but I think it's important that the public also knows the collaboration in all these cities. We have Bell City Council member Ali Saleh is with us. We have Bell City Manager Michael Antwine. We have Cudahy Vice Mayor Elizabeth Alcantar. We have Cudahy City Manager Al Naoya, and we have Huntington Park Council member Arturo Flores. And it's important, again, that the public knows that these cities have mayors and councils and city managers, and when something like this happens, they are all in and providing the resources from their various cities to make sure that their community is safe. You know, the shooting rampage that started Sunday night at 11:30 and continued to 2:30 a.m. early Monday morning really shook our Southeast Los Angeles community. It really put everybody on edge. Everyone was frightened. A couple of these shootings took place right outside of schools. One took the life of a teenager and wounded another. And before these crimes are solved, people, begin wondering and worrying, and the rumors start. And I think it put everybody on edge. But I am so grateful to stand here today and thank LA County Sheriff's Department homicide detectives who partnered with the local police departments of Bell and Huntington Park, and they were able to quickly bring in the suspects into custody in less than 48 hours. As we heard, this took a round-the-clock effort. They didn't sleep, and it demonstrates the commitment that law enforcement agencies have to the public safety of the residents of Los Angeles County. And because of this just really good police work, we can assure our Southeast Los Angeles community that there is no active threat to their neighborhoods. But again, if anyone still has information and wants to speak up, please call our Sheriff's Department. But I will just say that the last 48 hours have been difficult and terrifying for our Southeast LA community. But this proves that whether you're in the LA County Sheriff's jurisdiction or you're in one of the other police agencies' jurisdictions within LA County, residents should feel confident that whatever happens, all law enforcement agencies work together. They share information, they collaborate. And I think people need to understand that a city boundary or a city jurisdiction or a law enforcement jurisdiction does not prevent them from working together for the ultimate safety of LA County. With that, I'd like to introduce Bell Police Chief Carlos Islas.
Thank you. So I want to start by thanking the men and women of the Bell Police Department. They went out there unselfishly and began the preliminary investigation that ultimately maintained the scene for the Sheriff's Department to pick it up from there and conduct an aggressive investigation that ultimately has led to this arrest. I also want to thank the Sheriff's Department for their fantastic work over the past 48 hours to identify the suspects and to take them into custody. It is really refreshing that we're able to take these individuals off the street in a timely manner. And then lastly, I asked for the District Attorney's Office to take this as a call to move forward with an aggressive prosecution of these individuals. Any gun violence, it's important that we send the message together that ultimately it's not going to be accepted in our community. So I asked the DA's office to please take this forward and do an aggressive prosecution. And that's all I have now. Now I'd like to introduce my mayor of the city of Bell, Fidencio Gallardo. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And again, I just want to reiterate what's already been said. Thank you so much to the LA County Sheriff for bringing closure to this matter in under 48 hours. The loss of life is always a tragedy, but at least we have some closure to these tragic events in a timely manner. One lesson learned, and I think someone alluded to this earlier, is that social media posts are not the best source of information. Yesterday, there were posts about this matter that caused a lot of anxiety in our communities, and they all turned out to be false. So I, for one, say please always make sure that you get your information from reliable sources like our mainstream media. Again, we are grateful to the Sheriff's Department for having made these quick arrests. Our residents in the city of Bell and neighboring cities can feel safe once again. I also know that LAUSD has been providing services at their schools to make sure that young students and staff members and everyone on campus has access to grief and services. And to reiterate, these shootings were not school related. It is safe to go to school. School safety and the safety of our students is a top priority in Bell and our surrounding communities. But in an abundance of caution, our City of Bell Police Department will increase patrol around our schools. And now I'd like to turn it over to Huntington Park Police Chief Cosme Lozano.
Thank you. Yes, good afternoon. My name is Cosme Lozano. I am the Chief of Police in Huntington Park. And obviously this is an ongoing active investigation. I don't have too many more details to share with you regarding the homicide in Huntington Park. What I will tell you is that we're highly confident these were random acts of violence. There is no indication that any of the victims contributed to the violence or instigated it. Our victim, a male adult, you've heard it was the observation of a patrol officer who saw him down on the street, checked on him, and discovered that he had suffered gunshot wounds. We do know that our victim is a known local homeless individual in our community, or was, and based on information that we have and other facts, we know that he was simply walking down the street and was randomly targeted. I am grateful for the assistance of the Sheriff's Department. It is our typical protocol to call in Sheriff's homicide on an incident of this nature. We quickly started to realize that this homicide may be connected to the others that had occurred that evening. My appreciation for the officer, my officer who was on routine patrol and observed the victim and took the initiative to check on him and obviously render medical aid and contain the scene so that we can contain as much evidence and information as we can. I'm grateful to Sheriff Luna, Sheriff's Homicide Bureau, the investigators that spent countless hours tracking these suspects down. Grateful to the men and women of the Huntington Park Police Department, Supervisor Hahn's office, our city manager and our city council in Huntington Park, and also the my team of detectives that came out that evening and also have been working tirelessly to work together with the Sheriff's Department. Thank you. And I'll introduce my council member, Arturo Flores, for a few words.
Thank you, Chief. Just wanted, Arturo Flores, council member of the City of Huntington Park. Just want to really express our condolences from the City of Huntington Park to all the families that suffered a tragic loss at this senseless gun violence, and want to just reiterate our deep gratitude to the wonderful, amazing men and women of law enforcement for the amazing work that they've done. And that's all I have to say about that.
With that, we'll take questions. Anybody have questions?
Captain Meyer, Sandra Mattel from KTLA 5. Is there any indication that this was gang-related or some sort of gang initiation?
Yes.
Can you expand on that?
We believe the suspects are gang members.
And was this some sort of gang initiation, targeting random?
We believe it's a random people were targeted.
Captain, was this the idea of, you say randomly targeted? Was there anything else involved beyond the shooting itself? Armed robbery on any of the suspects? Or was it just
Not that we're aware of. They had no armed robbery that we're aware of. Nothing else other than random targeting of individuals.
Do we have a weapon recovered?
No, we do not.
Captain, can you talk to us a little bit about the arrests? The car that they were in, how many people were in the car, and the number of arrests? And forgive me, I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but for the sake of TV, if you just give me the TikTok of that.
Sure, I can touch a little bit about that. I'm not going to go into great detail because this is an ongoing investigation, but we did arrest the, I just back up. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department pulled over and detained one of the suspects in these murders. So I'm not going to go into the details of who was in the car at the time, but one of the suspects was in the car, and we arrested him.
What about the second suspect?
The second suspect, through other investigative techniques, we were able to identify him. Our Homicide Bureau wrote search warrants, and we used our Special Enforcement Bureau, which is our SWAT team, to serve those search warrants last night, early this morning. And that's how we got the second suspect into custody.
So these guys are gang members, but any indication that they were deliberately targeting individuals? That they knew any of the victims at all?
No indication that they knew any of the victims as of this time. Things could change. It's still early in the investigation, but no indication as of right now.
Where was the second suspect detained, sir, or arrested?
At the city of Compton.
Do you believe there are more suspects out there relating to these shootings that have not been arrested yet?
We believe there may be a third suspect in these murder investigations, and we don't have any information about the identity of the suspect or a description other than a male Hispanic or possibly half Hispanic, half black. That's all we have. And so,
both the suspects are adults, sir, or are they juvenile?
Both suspects are adults.
You mentioned a search warrant was served on the second suspect. Was that at a home or a business?
That was at a home.
There was mention of a post on social media relating to these shootings. Can you kind of clear the air? Were these suspects saying anything before firing the gun?
I'm not going to get into that at this point. It's still an ongoing investigation, and I don't want to jeopardize that investigation. Any other questions?
Captain, why are you not releasing the names of the suspects?
I will release the names of the suspects.
Can you tell us about their criminal record?
Yes, I can. There's the two suspects that we have in custody are Gary Jonathan Garcia, and he is male Hispanic, 42 years old. And the second suspect is Wayne McNeely Timberland, and he is a male Hispanic, 20 years old. Wayne McNeely Timberland has no criminal history, and Gary Garcia has an extensive criminal history.
Can I either ask this of you or Chief Islay? You know, the chief had mentioned aggressive prosecution. What are we talking about here? Gun enhancement charges, gang enhancement charges?
Chief, I'll let you talk about that.
Anytime you have gun violence, the investigation's still early on, but I can tell you this, with the arrest of the individuals that they have in custody, it is hoped that the DA will do everything in their power to prosecute them and be aggressive in their prosecution and not minimize this event. If we minimize this event, we send the wrong message to those individuals that continue doing these types of crimes. So I'm asking, and I'm sure the law enforcement, I can speak for law enforcement, that we're asking when there's hard work done by law enforcement to identify individuals, that the DA simply do the right thing and do their job to prosecute them to the full extent of the law. That's what I'm talking about. Any enhancements will remain to be seen as this investigation unfolds, but we're asking that the DA's office do everything in their power to make sure that these individuals are held to the full extent of the law.
Do we believe both of the suspects fired a gun or just one?
It's too early in the investigation. We don't know that yet.
Do we know which one is the shooter?
No, we do not know that yet.
And just in terms of gang activity, is there anything you'd want to say to individuals relating to this sort of activity that, you know, maybe some
Well, I think just in general, to the public, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to always be vigilant. And I think Captain Mundo Torres said it, you know, if you see something, call the sheriff's department, call your local police department. That's how we catch people doing things they shouldn't be doing, is by good citizens calling the sheriff's, their local police station, and reporting it.
Speaking
Captain,
of
is
which,
there
sir-
anything that indicates that the age of the victims is, probably the age of the suspects is part of the motivation here? You got somebody who's 42, who's obviously a 2 or 3 striker. You got somebody who's 20 with no criminal background at all. Obviously, there's some kind of logic as to why they're together in a car and possibly involved in multiple homicides. Is that any kind of a working theory you're putting together at this point? Was it bringing him out to turn him into a gangster, or what?
No, sir, not at this point. We don't have any working theory. We're still doing interviews. It's super early in the investigation, so we're not going to know that information for some time.
Captain,
Are all 3 suspects affiliated with the same gang?
I'm not going to disclose that information.
Captain, are you fairly certain that you have the shooter, one of those 2 suspects at least? Or is the outstanding one also a suspect in a possible triggerman?
I'm not gonna say on that. I'm not gonna make a comment about that.
You know, on the car, the pilot that you have there, how do you know all 4 are the same car? In other words, was there some damage that was consistent at all 4 scenes? Did the plate match up?
All I can tell you is that without revealing any of our investigative techniques, is that we did confirm that it was the same vehicle by license plate.
Captain, I'm a little confused as to why the message is that, to the community, that they're safe, but yet you think there could be a 3rd suspect out there.
Yes, there could be a 3rd suspect. We believe there's a 3rd suspect. That's why I'm saying you need to be vigilant. You need to report any suspicious activity to your local police department. And anything, as they say, if you see something, say something.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Spanish?
Thank you, everybody.